everyone, welcome back to JP's Budget Collecting and one of my top 10, top 50, top of something shows. I've been doing these, breaking down some lists of some of my favorite things here recently. This week we're going to be talking about my top 10 indie comics. For those that don't know the history on my channel, I really, as a kid and stuff, pretty much stuck to Marvel and DC. Mostly really, Bat-related stuff, Spider-related stuff, a little bit of X-Men, a little bit of Justice League, a few other things mixed in there, but really didn't venture into comics beyond the big two. Or relatively rarely did I venture into comics beyond the big two, I should say. There was a couple, but most part, no. So 5 years ago, I started doing the Indie Show, where I was reading independent comics that I'd missed, that people were recommending to me and then reviewing them with friends on the channel. I do these. I've done quite a bit of these over the years. I've done 30 different. So in 5 years, we've completed 37 different indie series, or if not completed, basically caught up to where they are in terms of publishing for the few that are still ongoing. And I decided we just finished our 5th year of doing that I would give my top 10 indie comics from this little adventure called the Indie Show that I've been doing and discussing with my friends. So I will say it was really hard to come down to 10, even though there's only like 37 series to choose from. There was quite a bit of variation, really, I think there's really kind of a top 6, and then there's the next 10 probably could have been anywhere like on here, depending on the day you ask me. But these are the 10 that I chose for this list, at least as of the day that I recorded this. So it might ask me tomorrow. It might be a little different. All right. So first up, let's dig in and see. At number 10, I have Lady Killer from Joel Jones from 2015 through 2017. This is basically 2 5-issue miniseries. So there's Lady Killer Volume 1, Lady Killer Volume 2. This is kind of housewife, assassin. I really love the series. I love the Joel Jones art. I'm a big fan of her art. I'm a big fan of the writing in this and the characters. I will say probably what bumped it onto the bottom of my list from the little scrum of series that I like pretty close to the same is the fact that when I read and discussed this, Jen was a part of that. It was actually my first real interaction where Jen was on my channel. So I have quite a bit of nostalgia for this one, but it's just a really good series. If you've never read it, super quick read. It's only 10 individual issues over the 2 volumes, and a great series, a lot of fun. Next, we got The Wicked and the Divine. If you'd asked me just where would Wicked and the Divine rank for me, I might have said, I don't know. I might not have put it in the top 10 until I actually started through this exercise. This Karen Gillan, James McElveen comic with fantastic colors by Matt Wilson. Like the colors and the art in here, it's just tremendous. Story of basically these gods that get reborn into teenagers every couple hundred years, and like all the trials and tribulations they go through was fantastic. It was original. It was creative. There was a lot of drama here. I really, really enjoyed this series. So yeah, it makes my list at number 9. Next, we got Lock and Key from 2008 through 2013 by Joe Hill with Gabriel Rodriguez art. I am not a big horror reader or fan just in general. Horror is not really my thing. It's fine. But I don't usually seek out horror, but I heard enough people talk about the series and I gave it a chance. And it squeezes into my top 10 also. Just was very creative. I really, really enjoyed this series. Our villain here is very unique and interesting. The family, the 3 kids that are like going through this are all really good characters. I really, really enjoyed the series. I will say this is probably the series on this list that I've had the most issues with the art. It's not that it's bad art, just not necessarily my favorite style of art, but it does work for the series really well. So I did really enjoy the series. So yeah, Lock and Key made it at number 8. Next, we have Monstrous, which is still technically ongoing. There's 9 volumes I think I've read, plus a few issues that haven't been collected, I think, into like trades yet. Because I think the 9 gets you to like maybe like 50. I don't know exactly where it gets you on issues. This Marjorie Liu and Sana Takada comic is freaking fantastic. I will point out here, because I think he's already been on the list once, for a letterer, Russ Wooten is on this list a lot. Clearly the letterer of our times, I guess. But I love Monstrous. This one is probably as high as it is because of the art. The Sana Takada art is unbelievable, detail, beautiful. I love the art in this series so much. I will say it is not for people that like easy reads. It's not an easy read. It's very, the plot, the characters, it's very Games of Thrones-esque in terms of just complicated plot, lots of characters, a lot of machinations going on, and who's doing what and who's on what side. And every time I pick up a new volume when it comes out, it's like, I need to go back and reread the previous one so I can remember exactly where I'm at and who's who and what's going on. But I do love this series a lot, and it has been a lot of fun to talk this one with the folks that Daymers and Los and Tacoma Comics. Been a lot of fun on this particular series. Next, we have The Mini Deaths of Leila Starr. So this is our first kind of one-shot. I mean, I guess Lady Killers is kind of a two-shot. This is our one-shot, only one-shot making this list. Ron V, Felipe Andrade, just a very interesting new take on comics. I will say the nostalgia there again. Jen is the one that introduced me to this. So there's definitely some nostalgia there, but just like a very interesting take, very different, basically being in the Indian culture, Indian gods, Indian god of death, and just basically trying to kill this guy that's going to cure death so that she won't have a job anymore. And yeah, it's just a very interesting tale of, as she goes through all this process of learning to appreciate life, that life and death are, hand in hand. So it's a really amazing story. I love it a lot. Number 5, I guess technically this is kind of a one-shot or a miniseries, just a single miniseries of 8 issues. This Daniel Warren Johnson was my introduction to independent Daniel Warren Johnson comics, at least. I know looking at this, his is an art style that I look at and go, no way I would like that. But I love it in this particular book. And really this and like a couple of others of the series that I've read that are just fantastic. There's Russ Wooten again. This story using rock music and just a story to talk about cancer and loss and love, and it's emotional. It's amazing. It's easily one of the best things I read. I talked about there being kind of a top 6. This was for sure had to be there for me. Yeah, it's an amazing book. If you've never read it, I know it looks a little weird. It's got kind of a strange title. It is worth it. You should go read it. I love the series. Yeah. Next, we're going to slide Die on the list, and our only writer that makes the list twice, Karen Gillan. We got Stephanie Hahn's art. This 20-issue series for 2018 to 2020. They can get in 4 volumes. Basically, these kids playing kind of a Jumanji-style thing. These kids are playing this game. They get sucked into this role-playing game, dice game. Only, unlike Jumanji, when they come out, real time has passed. So the time moves the same, but still the consequences of what happens to them while they're in the game versus when they come out into the real world. The Stephanie Hahn's art is freaking fantastic. It's maybe my favorite art. It's going to be close. We got one a little later. We're going to talk about maybe my favorite art of any of these books that I'm talking about. It's super close. Her covers for the series are beautiful, just like the cover you see here on number 1. Yeah, I love this series. I know there's a few people that love the first volume, weren't as keen on the second volume. I would agree with that, but the third and fourth volumes, the way the series ends, wraps up just almost as well as you could want it to. It works for me on a lot of levels. I love Die. Next, we have, we're into the top 3, and there's clearly for me a top 3 of the stuff that I've read. And Deadly Classes is number 3 on this list. This Rick Remender, Wes Craig art. There's Russ Wooten again. Lee Lowridge, Jordan Boyd did separate issues of colors, but between the two of them covered the series. 56 issues about teenagers that get pulled into this assassin school, and it's basically kill or be killed, and like, you know, try to find your way through this and into a real world. I love these characters. I love this series. It's violent, it's goofy, it's over the top, but it works on an emotional level. I even enjoy the way it wraps up, even if it's not exactly the way I thought it would. Marcus, Maria, and I'm blanking on the other character, the girl with the tattoos. I can't think of her name at the moment. I'm blanking, but love the three main characters. Love all the other side characters. Just a great series. Deadly Class, really worth it. I'm surprised disappointed that the live action didn't work, because man, it's such a good series. Number 2 on my list is technically, I guess, a cheat. It is Descender, Ascender. Basically, the original Descender run was 32 issues. They came back with a follow-up continuation of the story called Ascender that went 18 issues. This Jeff Lemire, Dustin Nguyen project. Oh my gosh. And you want to talk about art. I talked about that maybe 70 Hounds was my favorite. I think the Dustin Nguyen watercolors on these two series. The story of Tim 22, Tim 21, and Griller. I love these characters. I love this sci-fi world that then we get into like some magic and some other stuff as it goes on. It's just a super cool universe. It's a super cool story. It is not necessarily happy all the time, but it is so well told, so beautifully told with the art. It might be like if somebody was getting into indies and they didn't have any sort of aversion to sci-fi, this would probably be the series that I would start them with. Of these 10, Descender and Ascender is probably where I would send them, even if it's not my favorite overall, because I love the series so much. It's so good. I'm sure John will be very disappointed in me for only ranking it 2. And then last on our list is East of West by Jonathan Hickman, Nick Dragata on the art. There's Russ Wooten again, Frank Martin on the colors. 45 issues over 9 volumes. This post-apocalyptic version of the U.S., basically with a very different outcome from the Civil War, and we're now what is going on in the country. The U.S. is now divided into like 9 different nations. And the characters here are just so well written, so well developed. I know there's a lot of people that aren't necessarily enjoying the Nick Dragata art on Absolute Batman. Me, one of them, but I love his art in this book. I think it fits so well. It's just, everything is amazing here. Nothing has topped it. I will say, like, doing this list, I'm probably going to have to reread East of West and Ascender this summer for sure, if not a couple of others on this list that I need to go back and reread. It's been a while since I've dove into this world, and I need to again. But this is my number 1 of the indie series that I've been talking about. That is my top 10 indie comics. Let me know what you think. If you've read any of these, what you thought of these series. And tell me your favorite series, because I'm always looking for new stuff to read. Like I said, there's a bunch of stuff I have read, but there's a ton of stuff that I've never gotten to. So if you got favorites that aren't on this list, or you don't think you've seen me do in the indie show otherwise, drop them in the comments. I would love to find a new story to read. I want to thank you guys for watching. But we will. Oh, before I go, we do got to shout out my members real quick. I almost forgot. Don't want to do that. We got Bear Island, Old Wolf, Monterey, Jimmy Walker, and the Robin tier. Circumstances, Unruly, Pliny the Younger, in the Titan tier, and Daymares, and He Remains in the Nightwing tier. I appreciate all of them for helping me keep this channel going. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Let me know what your favorite indies are, and we will catch you next time. Later.